Unless you've spent the last couple of years trapped on a desert island, building fires, befriending volleyballs and losing said volleyball, you know that in 2020 something came out of China and travelled across the entire world. Genshin Impact! Huh? What? What did you think I was gonna... Oh! Maybe you consider playing but aren't sure. Maybe you're thinking of returning to the game. In this video, I'm going to give you an idea of what to expect if you start and what's been added since 1.5 as we enter 2.5. When you start the game, you get a pretty crazy cutscene and basically choose if you want to be the male or female traveller. These differences are only cosmetic, and if you're wondering what the hell is going on here, well, you're not alone. Now this game is filled with loads of characters, and it has for every need. It's got cute characters, badass characters, more badass characters, and... Now don't be letting your pervy sage state loose, as while the combat is initially simple, it has got some slight complexities, but nothing a dummy like you can't figure out. Every character has an element. These are called visions. The current elements are Pyro, Hydro, Cryo, Electro, Geo, Anemo, and Dendro. If you're returning to play Dendro, maybe 2.8? Now you'll probably have the same reaction as everyone when you first see the beautiful world of Teyvat. Stunning cities, cool enemies. Wow! I can't believe this is a free game! Please. You don't need to be like this beautiful bearded man. You can play for free and earn Primo Gems, turn them into Fates, and use that to wish or pull for characters and weapons. There are actually quite a few ways to earn these gems. Daily commissions, constant new events, quests, Spiral Abyss, achievements, and opening chests to earn more wishes. But I hope you've kept your kidneys in good nick, because you might want to chop one in for a 5-star. Might even see one if you're lucky. As far as we know, the world of Teyvat has 7 regions. Mondstadt, Liyue, Inazuma, Chesnaya, Sumeru, Fontaine, and Natlan. We can only go to 3 so far, and each nation has an Archon, which is basically a god, and each Archon grants the vision of their element. They're also the reason you, the traveller, begin your journey to find your sister or brother. Let's check out the 3 regions. Mondstadt, which is based on medieval Europe, I think. Liyue, which is based on China, and Inazuma, which is based on Japan. If you're returning, this is the newest region. It comes as a few islands and an off-map location. Traversing the region feels different to Mondstadt and Liyue, and has its own mechanics involved, which I found a refreshing pace. All 3 regions vary in style, and all 3 look pretty damn good. Let's get down to business to defeat the Fatui. Combat, as mentioned earlier, isn't as simple as you initially think. You control one character at a time with a party of 4 that you switch around using elements to create elemental reactions, such as Vaporize, which is Hydro and Pyro, Melt, Cryo and Pyro, and more. There's a bunch, so I won't go too deep, but it creates the opportunity to build really interesting team compositions. While the game doesn't explicitly say it, we as the players have kinda determined 4 different types of character. You've got your main DPS who dominate time on the field and dish out the majority of your attacks, sub DPS who come in to deal damage through skills, ults and sometimes the auto attack, supports who are there to, well, support by healing or buffing, and enablers who are more like a subclass of support. Their entire job is to enable another character to reach their damage potential. You can build a team however you want, but that doesn't mean it will be any good. With the amount of characters, weapons, artifacts, talents and even foods in this game, you have a lot of options to go through, and the game does a reasonable job of telling you how to power up your team. One of these main ways is elemental reactions and elemental resonance. Mihoi's story! The story has its fair share of dramatic and enthralling moments. On the other hand, it has, depending on the lore levels you enjoy, some pretty boring quests. I'm gonna say it. I don't really care that a couple guys haven't paid their taxes in a game, and I don't really want to spend my time entrapping them into admitting not paying their taxes. With quests you get a bunch of different ones, from Archon to Story to World to Dating Sim. Yep, a dating sim mode, or as Genshin calls it, a hangout. So if you're wanting to get a little closer to your favourite waifu, you can. Oh yeah, baby! Let the traveller hang out with his wang out. or her wang out. Not sure how that works. Is there a lot to do? Yes, but many content creators disagree. I think that's because they play for several hours a day and rush to the end game. If you're a fresh account, pace yourself. You don't need to rush to AR50, just enjoy the ride. And if you're returning to try Inazuma, then mate, it's pretty awesome. I'm really pacing myself, so I constantly have loads to choose between. Now, at the end game it does become a case of grinding, exploring and clearing. You'll be grinding up materials for weapons and characters. You'll be exploring the world of Teyvat in search of chests, quests and tests. They don't call them tests, but it rhymed. You'll also be trying to clear the Spiral Abyss, which is a much higher difficulty than the rest of the world. Teapot, take me home. I wanna see Lisa in a thong. Do you like Sims? Well, this isn't Sims. Not even close, really. But it has got a housing system, which since I stopped just before 1.6 has expanded with the one thing I wanted. You can grow some of the plant-based materials. But beyond that, you can create your own world, and I imagine people who love that aspect will sink hours into tweaking their teapot, changing which layout from the 4 available, designing the inside of their house and all the outside sections, farming materials to craft all the items, and working to unlock everything. It seems really detailed and allows you to get some really useful items for the rest of the game. But it's not my cup of tea. I love how this game looks. This game is
visually, that looks stunning. Absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely phenomenal. That is just utter perfection. It was fucking amazing.
And when it was first released, comparisons to Breath of the Wild were made, so yeah. This game was compared to a game known for being one of the most beautiful games. So that's a pretty good endorsement. I mean, if your mate was telling you about their girlfriend or boyfriend, and they were like, hey, you know Megan Fox in Transformers, or Idris Elba in anything, they look like that. That's a good endorsement. The character movement is clean. I hate slow movement speed in games. And while I'm always wanting more, this game does a great job of making me feel fast enough while traversing across the map. And the plentiful waypoints mean I don't have to deal with another Red Dead Redemption 2 situation. Seriously, Rockstar, I couldn't even finish that masterpiece. The combat animations are awesome. One of my favourite characters is literally because of their combat animations. The character designs are typically brilliant. I mean, look at this. Or this. Or this. Or this. My god, I wish his banner was running when I started recording this, but one day he will return. They have had a couple of bad designs, and I'm going to say it, universally bad. If you don't agree that this and this look shit, you might need to be institutionalized. By the way, these are 2 of the most cracked characters in the entire game. This game is really about collecting characters, using and powering up your favourites, and making fun team compositions. But there's the kicker. Gotcha, wish your main was hot like me. Gotcha, wish your main was strong like me. Gotcha. Yes, I did do a little dance to that. It was rather suggestive. Almost all the characters in this game are obtained by wishing, aka the gacha system, which scientists believe stands for haha, gacha money, now give me more you little bitch. While this game can be free to play, it will mean you have to make sacrifices on who you pull. But that's part of the fun. Having the goal of certain characters, the building tension while waiting, and the feeling you get when something great lands into your lap. Now, I won't advise spending money on anything you don't need, but I personally play as a sort of half dolphin whale crossbreed abomination, where I get the Welkin Moon, the Battle Pass if I hit rank 50, and if I really want something, I'll drop some cash just to add it to the game. I should not have thrown that right into my monitor. But be aware, the main slant that fans have with this game is the notorious greed of Mahoy. Hoyaverse. Whales can spend thousands. Some of the top streamers have spent near 100 grand for characters and weapons, which in my opinion just trivialises the entire game. Now, Hoyo do keep updating the game and it doesn't have many bugs, and as this is a PvE only game, there's no real pay to win issue, but it is a questionable business practice. I have no problem with gacha, it's fun as hell, I love it. But it doesn't need to cost so much. Let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies is it? This bit is about the game's flaws. There are some flaws with the game. That bit was so stupid. There are some flaws with the game that are majorly problematic. I'm not going to discuss the gacha system as it's a double-edged sword, but I will discuss the future of new characters and new regions. So, very minor spoiler alert, there is at the moment a regional route in place. You start in Mondstadt, then Liyue, and then Inazuma. Let's say for Sumeru you can pick between Inazuma or Sumeru first, but I think that's unlikely. Either way, you'll need to hit AR 30. Now the issue is when leveling characters, you ascend them and increase their talents. Problem is, the resources used to ascend or increase talent level are regional based, with no way of trading for another. E.g. Yai Miko, the new 2.5 banner character, her ascension materials are in Inazuma. So if you're new, you either have to move through the game fast, or wait quite a while to use this shiny new character. Now that wouldn't be as big a problem if they started circulating characters through the standard banner, or what I'd like to see, regional banners. Just have a permanent Mondstadt banner. You don't even need to include every character, just the ones who are never going to get their own featured banner again. The same could apply to Liyue, and to be honest, I do think this will come in. I imagine Hoyoverse are just reserved to do this so early in the game's lifespan. But without this or a method to convert the Talent Ascension Material A into Talent Ascension Material B through use of a special solvent that can be obtained by level up, events, battle pass, maybe weekly bosses, you're gonna run into trouble. It wouldn't even be setting a new precedent. It's already in the game for world boss drops. You can turn a tooth into a toenail clipping for the same boss to upgrade without RNG grinding. We're in the end game. End game content, kinda lacking. There is plenty to do, but it may not be what you want to do. I love Pokemon games, but I don't have any incentive to catch them all, shiny hunt, or even do the battle tower. So I don't. I play something else, and I think Genshin has this issue. If you don't care about Spiral Abyss, if you don't want to grind, then all you have are the remaining quests, including the hangouts and the events. And these events can be awesome. So much so that it can be infuriating when they decide to completely remove a game type that, to be honest, they could just leave in. Sometimes there's no reason to have it be an event exclusive. In fact, to me, it's more like a special at a restaurant or a fast food chain. The best specials often become features because people like them enough so they keep it on the menu. To me, this is what Genshin should do. Not for all of them, but for some, and Hoyo could add to it. They could have kept the tower defense from whatever it was, 1.3, and just added new things during events, new levels, new difficulties, any of that. And by now they probably would have had an additional 4 or so features of the game for endgame players to try to master, or just to break up the grind. I think they will bring out a lot of endgame content. That's why they're now pushing a $200 million annual budget to improve this game. And don't forget, we're only in chapter 2 of at least 7. Likely 8, 9, and 10 or more. So there is loads coming down the line, but that line spans 3 years, and hopefully they'll bring in endgames sooner rather than later. Oh, and I can't be the only one hoping they bring out some full-scale dungeons with interesting drops, am I? Am I? Should I play or should I go and play another game? Yes, you should play. It's awesome. It really is. Now, I'm not saying you need to play forever. I'm not saying you need to become ultra powerful. You don't even need to be on the hardest world difficulty. You can change that in the settings. You can decide to play through this game not caring about characters or weapons, and you wouldn't lose out. This world is rich, it has layers. And while I personally would love a bit more of the dark side of their world, and some quests being a bit more interesting and a little less wordy, for the most part this game is awesome. So much so that I'm back, baby. That's right, I am playing this game a ton. I'm back on my main, loving going through Inazuma, playing the events, going and doing everything I was doing before. Artifact grinding, material grinding, anything. And I enjoyed it so much that I've created an alt account, just to try a catalyst only run. I might make another alt just to do a bow run. I want to have alts to play through the entire story with just the 3 characters. Hell, I've been on and off a Nuzlocke for Heart Gold. I want to Nuzlocke this. This game can be replayed a bunch because you can get different characters each time, different weapons. You can impose challenges on yourself, and the game is constantly adding new content. Sometimes as gamers we demand the stars and shun the moon. This game isn't perfect, but nothing is. For new players, you could probably get 60 hours plus of gameplay for free without overgrinding. For people wanting all that endgame, not including the exploration, the artifact grinding, the material grinding, the spiral abyss, the teapot, or the events, well, that is something that's lacking right now. So if those methods of post-game aren't for you, then do the side quests, world quests, play through Inazuma, enjoy what you can do, and then check in again in a few months. It's closing time. This game is wicked, and I think if you think you may enjoy this game, play it. At the very least, you'll enjoy a decent story, fun gameplay, beautiful characters, stunning environments, and then when you've done it all, just log in for your dailies, just play the events, or find another game for a while. I haven't played it, but I'm sure Honkai's fun. Try that. And then in a few months, when new regions and new content are out, come back to playing. I'm loving being back in Teyvat. That doesn't mean I'll stay forever. There are loads of worlds out there. We have Midgard, there's Tamriel, even Los Santos. They don't call us the Traveller for nothing.